All right, welcome back. If you made it this far, awesome. I know looking through videos and stuff can be tough sometimes. I completely understand. So I wanted to get into a little bit of like educational stuff with this and um, some of the stuff that I'll talk about today is going to be within the portals for the clients and the families. And there's a different take on it slightly for the families, but it's all very, very similar. Um, it's obvious, like people always talk about recovery and what do we use and what do we do like and there's this big book that we use, right? The big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And um I don't know, man, we're in a time where some people really love it. Some people are getting away from it. It seems like I don't know. I think it's based on opinion. I'll just tell you this: like my story and what we do here, quite a bit of is we're going to use that book. The book's written in 1935. From what I know, the words that we use the most in meetings and in working within the steps are the doctor's opinion through like 164. Uh, they haven't those words haven't changed since they created it in 1935, and to me that's super amazing. And it's super hopeful to know that it's helped millions and millions of people to get sober and to live amazing lives. So there's something to that, there's something to say about what the steps absolutely actually do. And I want to make it very clear that anyone who works these steps, period, anyone who works these steps at all, um, could they have the opportunity to change their lives, and their lives would get better for sure. Because I think what most people, not most, I hate saying stuff like that. I think what a lot of people miss out on working the steps is to understand that each step is has a principle tied to it, and the idea is to start applying that principle within my life. Um, if I have these principles that are working in my life, and if I looked up and I look at through 12 principles on the wall or wherever they are, however you have them written down, I'm like, okay, I'm apply all these principles apply to my life, then most likely you're going to be living a pretty good life, right? Um, and I think that's the main point. I think that we have to look at the information that we're given and not like dissect it so much. I've seen that so often. It's like I don't want to hear you be able to like read a sentence from page 20 and then go and connect it to a sentence on page 100 and then back. Like that's all good and stuff. Like good for you. I'm just being straightforward with you right here. Like I need a simple version to understand like, okay, what is going on? What do I have to do next? And how can I start doing my best to have the willingness to like work through these things in order to get better? Because like the way I came into the rooms, into treatment and stuff like that was like, I damn sure wasn't on a winning streak. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, I didn't come in there batting 1,000 and life was going great, not at all. And so I needed some help and I needed some guidance, but I dang sure needed it to be simplified enough to where it made sense for me. And I think that starts with an understanding what that first step is actually about. And we do understand that it says that we are powerless and then our lives have become unmanageable. So just look at that like a normal person that walks into that situation. The easy part about understanding that first step when it talks about powerlessness and unmanageability, well, no shit, like it's unmanageable. That's pretty easy. Like it doesn't take a lot for me to sit down with someone and to be like, okay, like what is your life like right now? Like what are your circumstances and what do they look like? And a lot of times I hear that's like, I'm financially insecure. My finances are down the drain. For some people, it's like my relationships with my family is absolutely terrible. I'm on the verge of a divorce. I'm constantly in conflict with the people that I love. I am dishonest. I can't hold a job for very long, and I don't commit. I can't show up for commitments, whether that includes showing up for Christmas or any holiday, Thanksgiving, birthdays. I don't answer the phone. Like I mean, like I can't hardly want to pay the bills or live the lifestyle, and I just like become a recluse. Like a lot of times, that's what it looks like, and to me, it's pretty easy to pinpoint down unmanageability because when I look at what manageable would seem like, it dang sure ain't being like a recluse of myself and being miserable and completely like so far down and depressed that I don't want to participate in the world anymore. So yeah, unmanageable, got it. You bet your ass. We'll check that box for sure. The powerlessness piece is where a lot of us struggle, man. It's like what do you mean I'm powerless, right? I'm having to fight the ego and pride after everything because my mind tells me that with enough force I can stop absolutely anything. That this is a mind game at this point. And so I've got to like just work my way through it. I just got to separate myself enough long enough from the alcohol or the drug or whatever the behavior is, so I can just like auto and recorrect. And if you did my style, you'll follow that path long enough, and you'll keep beating your head against the wall and understanding that's not going to do much for myself. Like I can just so educate myself on myself where I get lost in it. It's simpler than that. I'm here to tell you like it's like we don't need to like go absolutely crazy, but telling someone that they're absolutely powerless over one thing is wild. But at the same time, it's like when it comes down to it, the drink or the drug or the behavior or whatever that it is, like no matter what happens, like I cannot control whether I do that anymore or whether I put it in my body. Like I've lost defense for sure, and I need some defense. Like the truth of the matter is I'm powerless, and I absolutely need some sort of power. So like, what is that power? Um, I remember I used to think that like just admitting, hey, or, like for example, going into a meeting room, if you don't know what that is, an AA or CA or whatever group that you like to check out, people identify as to whatever the thing is that they have a problem with, whether that's alcohol, drugs, or whatnot. And I used to be like, okay, once I'm able to just like easily be like, yeah, I'm an addict, things will just be completely, that'll turn around, and that shows that I've definitely completed that the honesty piece, right? Because the principle, and here's the big thing. I wish I could just put like I'm not like technically savvy enough to go ahead and throw something on the screen that's just like a big old bomb blowing off. But here's the thing you got to remember here. This is of utmost importance is the principle that's tied to step one is honesty. And from what I've been told and from my experience, that's the only step that we must practice 100% of the time, right? That's the only step that I can't afford to mess up. Like the other steps and the principles that are tied to it, the other principles at times can waver, right? Like there's times in life where I can't walk around and be hopeful all the time, like in step two. And there's times where my faith is going to be absolutely challenged and I'm going to fail at that. That's step three in faith, right? But honesty, we cannot mess up. When I start being dishonest, and I'm talking about like a internal dishonesty, like there's levels to this like recovery stuff, and it's beyond recovery. It's just like as a human being, as a person, like moving on into life and understanding. Like initially, I need you to be honest with the small stuff. Like, did you steal grandma's purse? Yes, right? Or like, did you go in and look through so and so's medicine cabinet? Absolutely. Whatever that is. Did you lie and fake that you were sick so you didn't have to come to my mom's and parents' house during Thanksgiving? You bet. You know what I'm saying? And then there's the deep stuff where it's like the impeccability with word to yourself. Like, what lies am I constantly telling myself? And that's where like the ego can live. And it's very interesting because typically you, when you look in the mirror, you're not saying like the greatest of things to yourself, right? You're not looking in the mirror all the time and just being like I'm such a badass and I'm the best in the world. I'm not saying that that doesn't happen, but a lot of the times when you're just truly alone with yourself, I mean, because who do you spend the most time with anyway? It's yourself. It's the person that's up in here, and that's the person, and that's the dialogue that we have to go to work on. That's the depth of this stuff, right? And typically you're saying like, I'm a piece of shit. I'm not going to amount to nothing. I don't deserve love. I'll never find happiness. I'll never find joy. I want to kill myself. Like for real. That's the truth of it all. Um, and for me, I can work both ways. I can be, on the heavy side of self-pity, and I can be on the heavy side of being very negative to myself. And then at the same time, like I can have my ego restored for sure and be like, I'm the best of the best. You know what I mean? And so we got to find and go to work on some of that stuff. But that's the impeccability of like the honesty piece. It's like, I utilize meetings today for that transparency and honesty. I think living in transparency and living in honesty, like it breeds authenticity. And like I don't know anything that's like more genuine than being authentic. I think like our souls just like they just gravitate towards people who are genuine. And I share transparent today. I'm not here to, gather some time and away from drugs or alcohol and say that I have it all figured out. That's not the truth at all. But I will tell you 100% what's on my mind. And the truth of the matter is, it's like if I struggle with pornography, I'm going to tell you about it. And whatever else has filled the role in my life. If I struggle with like lustful thoughts in the gym, then I'm gonna speak about that stuff because I need to take power away from it within me. The only way I know to do that is to talk about it. The only way I know to do that is to share and get some perspective from other people to whom I trust because we need like-minded people. The truth of the matter is like a lot of times I'll say it and a lot of people are thinking it. Today, I just won't, I'm just not going to negotiate with it at all. If that makes me look crazy, if that makes me look weak, if that makes me look unprofessional, like I'm supposed to be this stand-up person with a, three-piece suit on, shoes polished all the time, I can play that game too all day long. I can go sit in a business meeting all that I need to. I can be a stand-up citizen all the time. But like the ones who really get down and dirty with it, the honest, what's going on in their mind and get it out, like I think the more freedom that lives within that. That's impeccability with their word. And I need to be impeccable with myself. That's the honest piece. Like I have to understand that and get down with that. I have to battle the shame. I have to be able to invite all walks of life into my world, right? I can't be a stage character anymore. And I can't participate and be a chameleon anymore. I've done this so often in my life. I need you to like me. I need this group over here to like me, so I'll morph to whatever that is that they need. And I need this group over here to like me, and so I'll change for them. And the same things with the people over here. And like all in doing this, I've chased people to like me so much that I have lost myself absolutely completely. I've lost myself in trying to chase a standard set by a world that standard that I have nothing to produce it. I have no say in it at all, and I want to be liked by absolutely everybody, and I get hurt in the end of that process, and I really like get so distant that I cannot answer the question: this who is Jay? I remember when the first time I had that pushed across the desk to me, and these, who's Jay? Answer this question, write an essay over this, and I just pushed the piece of paper back because the truth was for the very first time with myself as it doesn't seem powerful to you right now, but for me sitting there and just pushing that paper back and being like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. And the person across from me was like, that's okay. We're gonna figure that out. And with that helped us to move on into the second phase of that. And so we got to get honest and we got to be real about it and we got to lose the shame around it and we got to go to work, right? And it's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to be awkward. There's no doubt about that. And so we learn to get uncomfortable. We got to learn to get comfortable in the uncomfort. And just to know that that's just like fear and we get to walk through that constantly. And I'm not worried anymore about this whole reputation thing of what you think of me. And, like, I'm not saying I don't struggle with that because absolutely, but like, it's not about that anymore. My integrity matters way more to me. And if me being honest and transparent and like really raw with the mud of what this stuff truly is gets me like pushed away from a certain group or whatever, cool. Like that's absolutely fine because the truth of the matter is there is some selfishness that goes along with this process. And I need like every person who's starting this process to understand that like this is about you, to work on you. And through this process, you will become to love others and be of service to other people. But do not get this shit twisted by no means, right? Because you can look around the room of other people trying to get sober, and the odds are that everyone in that room getting sober are very slim. They're just the truth. It's like no people are going to get caught up in the uncomfortable. They're not going to want to be honest, and they're going to want to fall backwards, and they're going to want to look at surrender in a way of like turning away from rather than turning into. And until we can change that mindset, then we'll be running in a loop. So at times I'm going to be like look around that room like I'm going to do whatever the hell it takes. I'm going to be as vulnerable as it takes, as transparent as it takes. If you tell me, Jay, you need to get on top of that dang roof and cluck like a chicken and do the best version of that you can for the next 7 hours, and you do that, then you'll be sober. Bet your ass, dude, that I will trip you on your way up there to get to the top. And that's just the truth of it is like, you got to be willing, you got to be ready, and you got to have that desperation of a drowning man, and it has to be a life or death errand for you at that time, and that's that process of what this can do. And so I want to move into it. That's just a little bit of some step one stuff and some truth in that, but I don't want to, there's more instructional stuff, and if you do become one of our clients or family members that wants to know more about this, I'll definitely be sharing more and walking you along this process. But what I'm very interested in now for you to understand is you got to get this within step one and what you see on your screen, and it's this vicious cycle. Okay. This is important for some people that truly start to understand the vicious cycle. It'll start to make sense to you. It applies a little bit about what's going on within our brain and within our body. Now understand there's parts to it, and you'll see on the screen here. At the top, there's a spiritual malady. That's what we call RIDS. You'll hear that. That's a lingo version right there. You people in recovery all the time. I'm in the spiritual malady. I'm in RIDS. I'm restless, irritable, and discontent, right? And then you have the mental obsession, first use, spree, consequences, emerging remorseful, and the firm resolution. Okay, go ahead and put your whatever it is in the middle of that right now that you're struggling with, that you came in with, right? Drugs, alcohol, behaviors. Now, listen, it all starts with restless, irritable discontent. The reason that we put something in our body, or whether that's that, like I said, it can be drugs, it can be alcohol, it can be certain behaviors, it can be sex, it can be gambling, it can be pornography, it could be whatever it is, greed, money. I can throw anything in there at all. And the reason that I end up biting on that stuff, like using drugs and alcohol or changing the way that I feel, is because of the restless, irritable, and discontent. Like with me, discontent is huge. I struggle with just being mundane. Like I struggle with like thinking that there's some way I'm gonna be able to be this like non NPC, non playable character, you know? And I'm like, okay, what's next? I did that, check that box. Like, what's next? Like, so my heart is always, and my mind really is always just like, okay, what's next? What's next? I have a problem with being content, and so, but I know what solves that problem, and that's what leads you to the next arrow, which is the mental obsession. And the mental obsession is just a thought process because I already know what solves restless, irritable, and discontent. It's a certain drug, right? And I know that if I take that drug, it'll get rid of the discontent in my life. I'll stop being irritable and restless and all that stuff. Here's my truth: is like I have about 24 hours or so to sit in the mental obsession. Just the thought process of like, oh, dang, man, this could do it. That'd be kind of crazy. Maybe just once. I don't know. Just to get rid of this, a little chill time, rock let the world fade away for a little bit. If I don't make a phone call, if I don't get honest and get transparent and do something about that mental obsession, then obviously what comes next is what happens, right? I put it in my body. It's this first use, this physical allergy piece that we're talking about. It's the aspect that I put it inside of my body, and something different happens, right? It's this craving that happens. That big old F it button is what I call it. Boom, punching it immediately. I put it in my body. I literally have an allergic reaction to it, and the phenomenon of craving occurs, and then it's in trouble. Like we're off to the races. We done started this process, and there ain't no turning back for me. Like once it's in there, like I turn into a completely different person. I will steal from you. I will lie from you. I will hide your drugs, or and take them and help you look for them. Like I'm not joking. I turn into the worst person on this entire planet, and anyone in my life can definitely attest to that. And that's the physical allergy. That's what's different that happens with whether I drink a beer or say my dad was to drink a beer. Something different happens. He can drink a beer, sip on it, push his little button on the top of it, and have a good conversation. And I'm wondering when we're going to start feeling a little bit warm and fuzzy. And then soon after that, I need to know where the cocaine is, and the heroin or whatever, the weed. We know whatever it is. Like we're expanding after that. My life after that process, and what you'll see next in this vicious cycle, comes the spree. For me, that lasts a long time. I'm not a person that can just use for a day or two at a time, right? Some people are. Some people's sprees are 2 days, 1 week, 1 month, a year, whatever. Mine will go multiple years. I'm the type that has to be backed into a corner almost, you know what I mean, with no way out before I'll, cry uncle or whatever it is. And so those sprees can last depending on who you are and how like I just said, it can last weeks, months, years, days, whatever. After that come consequences. There's always consequences to our actions of the using, right? And that could be probation, that could be family, that can be anything. Whatever consequences are faced from me using, going against everything that I absolutely know is right. And there's a time in this process after the consequence, and you can mark that out if you want, but it's where even more important is to look at this phase of emerging remorseful, because there's a point and a time in my using, whatever phase that is, where I'm just like, dude, I don't want to do this shit anymore. Like, I don't want to do it no more. Like, golly, I'm tired of this stuff. I wish I could just stop. Like, I want to stop. And then the next phase, which every family member and all of us have experienced before, is like the firm resolution. That's when I'm like, I swear to you, on my knees, like I get down, I'm like begging, like, I will never do this shit again. I'm not going to do it anymore. I swear to you, I'm going to get clean. I'm going to go to work tomorrow. I'm going to make everything right. I'm going to be the best husband, the best boyfriend, the best son, the best brother, whatever it is. And if you hooked myself up to a lie detector test with that firm resolution that I'm making, I would pass that. I would pass that damn lie detector test because I truly within myself believe it. I'm delusional. and not very much impeccable with my word. And everyone else around me, my family's like, we've done this shit before. Like we've seen this over and over again. You know, we've been down this damn road. Like we know he's full of it. He's lying. And the truth of the matter is, I'll just continue in this cycle over and over and over again. And there's a little exit opportunity too. It's always between this firm resolution and the restless, irritable, and discontent. And it's the reason that we use the 12 steps because we need some type of spiritual experience. And I'm not here to tell you that this spiritual experience it needs to be something, don't let your mind go crazy with it at all. It's not, I don't need Jesus to come out of the sky or some big bearded men to come down or to see water turn to wine or the Moses situation with the burning bush. Like, if that's what you're thinking, don't trip yourself out. Like, a spiritual experience to me can be a moment of like gratitude. It can be a strong moment of clarity, of feeling like compassion and kindness through another individual. I need to simplify that. It's that little fuzzy feeling in your chest when you're driving down the road, and I don't know if it's a song that triggers it or what, but you just feel like calling someone that you haven't called in a long time, or you feel like calling a family member and telling you that you love them, or how much that you appreciate them in your life. It's like those little moments, like moments of spiritual experiences, like plural. This isn't something that has to be entirely profound, and we need that. We need to experience that. And we use these 12 steps in order to get to those spiritual experiences, to have like an awakening to the world of just like, man, it's a beautiful place out here. I just need to open my eyes. Like I need to open my eyes to see that all these things are happening around me. And the more that it's about other people and less about myself, when I'm working with someone else and I keep marching absolutely forward and I'm trusting in the process and I start to have a little bit of hope and I'm understanding like faith and whether that's being able to peer around the corner or not. And then I stop for a second and I turn around and my life is just absolutely beautiful, you know? Um, and I'm chasing internal wealth versus any type of external validation or things that can be bought, you know. This stuff is priceless. And the 12 steps allow us to slowly just walk through the process to have that spiritual experience and everyone deserves it, you know. And you can replace that. The truth of the matter is go ahead and take whatever it was you put in the middle of this when we started this vicious cycle. Um, and as most people will sit across when I'm explaining this to them, it's like that's not in your system now, right? It's not. And so you can still live in this cycle without drugs or alcohol, without the crazy behaviors. The truth of the matter is like the drugs and alcohol has been your solution this entire time. The problem is deep within yourself, and we have to go to work on that. And we want to go to work on that. So if that's something that makes a little bit sense to you, great. If not, chuck it. We'll continue on. If you like some more videos, if you'd like to join the O Forge team, let us know. We'd love to have you. Thank you.